there? Those of you that are gone, hello. So a month ago, a couple of weeks ago, and before that, I had been praying about Christmas and all that it means. And on December 8th, a few weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, I did that study on Genesis chapter 3, where we find what some call the starting point of what we know as Christmas today, because it says there, if you remember, when the snake, or Satan in reference, came and tricked Eve into biting the forbidden fruit, and we read in Genesis 3:16, and I will put enmity or hatred between you, the serpent, and the woman, and between your seed and her seed. Now her seed, of course, is Christ Jesus. And he shall bruise you on the head, and you shall bruise him on his heel. Now, in this verse, we see the promised seed promised right at the beginning in Genesis. So, even from the very beginning, God had already promised that there would be a Messiah who would come, who would basically destroy the works, or what I would call, my nephew always likes to say, the grip that he has on people's lives. And so God had promised back then that Satan would be destroyed, and he would loosen that grip of on his people from bondage, addictions, and all sorts of stuff. So I kind of want to carry through with that as we go on this morning. I titled this study "Just the Reason," not for the season, not for Christmas, just the reason, because that's all you need to know. It's the reason and why he sent his son. Amen. So, Father, we do come before you. We lift up this study, Lord. We are so grateful for your love and mercy to us, Lord. Lord, most of us here already know. Apart from you, we would truly be without hope. Our lives would not be anywhere near what they are today. And Lord, I just wanted to pray that you would continue to bless us, bringing us more understanding of you, clearer appreciation for your love and mercy to us. Especially wanted to pray for the children, Lord, and the young children that are upstairs, that they would hear your voice and come to know you personally. You would spare them from the heartaches that they do not have to go through because of walking in this world. You would forever be their hedge of protection, watching over them and keeping them safe. Even us, Lord, we continually need you to help us and guide us and watch over us. And I pray this morning that your word would be alive, that the Holy Spirit would speak to us and guide us. As our teacher, he would reveal your truth to our hearts, helping us to be dedicated to you and committed to you as you are to us. So we thank you for this morning, Father, and we praise your name. In Jesus' name we pray and say amen. So this morning, like I said, I want to share what the Lord had been showing me for a couple of months now, and concerning the reason that he sent his son. And so there are many reasons, okay? So this study is not exhaustive. There are hundreds of reasons in the Bible for why Jesus came. Now, we celebrate Christmas because it's important to us. It's something we've pretty much all grew up with. There are some people who never even heard of Christ, don't know what Christmas is about. But for the most part, we all understand it. We all celebrate it. We all like getting presents. We like some people don't like. Some people don't like spending money. That was me, bah humbug, not no more. Thank you, Jesus, amen. But one reason, obviously, it's a famous verse. It's quoted more than any other verse in the Bible. There are roughly 31,373 verses in the Bible. And of all those verses, this verse is quoted the most by evangelists, by popular preachers and teachers. Everyone knows it by heart. And in John 3:16, we read the words, "For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whoever believes in him should not perish, but have everlasting life." So this reason is popular and most quoted, I find, for several reasons. Starting at the beginning, it tells us why. For God loves the world. That's everyone. That's you, that's me, that's every single person that you can think of. The reason why Jesus came was because God loves the world. God loves people. God created us. It's His desire that we would live for Him and follow Him and love Him as He loves us. Secondly, we're told that He gave His only begotten or sole Son for each and every one of us. Not only did He love us, but He proved that love by sending Jesus Christ onto this earth in order for us to know His love. So Jesus reveals the love of God to us. So God sent His Son. Third, the condition of salvation that we find in Jesus is that we must believe in His Son. That is stated here that whoever should believe in Him should not perish. So we are to believe in Jesus Christ. Not Muhammad, not Buddha, not anybody out there that somebody can conjure up, make up, or believe in. But He tells us our sole person in faith is to be in Jesus Christ, the Messiah. The Son of God come in the flesh, as John chapter 1 verse 14 tells us, that He would come in the flesh. So we are to believe in His Son. Why? The fourth thing I wrote down was by believing, He says, we should not perish, or we would not perish. And then fifth, lastly, believing, we will not perish, but we would have what? Everlasting life. So, believe means what? To have faith. Believe means to be committed to Jesus Christ. Believe is the word in the Greek meaning committed. When we confess ourselves as Christians in Jesus Christ, what we're really saying is I am committed to Jesus Christ. Just like when we get married, there is a commitment established in the marriage vow that we would live for, love each other forever and ever, and usually they say until what? Death do you part. Now, with 50% of Americans, both saved and unsaved people, getting divorced, you would think there'd be a lot of dead people. But there's not. The people are getting divorced for all sorts of reasons, but not for the way it was stated when they said their marriage vows. And so, I was thinking the other day how when we go to a wedding and we witness the marriage vows, you know what I think we need to do more today than we probably never have done before? Is when there is a potential divorce or something, we need to tell that person, hey, wait a minute, I stood there. I listened to you. You said until death do you apart. We need to challenge people to keep their vows. And so, believe is commitment. Why did God send His Son for us? For salvation. But He also said this is interesting. He said that whoever believed in Him should not or would not perish. What does perish mean? Well, it doesn't mean to cease to exist. We know that from the Bible. It has nothing to do with non-existence. Some people teach that once you die, you're over, and there's nothing left, and there's no consequences. In fact, Watchtower doctrine teaches that, but it's not true. It's not true. We continue to live. But instead, what it indicates here, there is still a state of consciousness, and this state of consciousness involves suffering for those who do not put their faith in Jesus Christ. So that state of consciousness continues to be, so the word perish doesn't mean non-existent, but it means there's a state of consciousness dealing with pain and suffering that is the result of sin without repentance. So this is why it's important to believe, commit in the Lord Jesus Christ. Why? So that we're not perishing and being in a state of suffering. So actually, God's love saves us from eternal pain and suffering, if you were to read that. His love saves us from eternal pain and suffering. Now you got to say an amen to that, because, man, if you understand what perishing is, and you're saved in Jesus Christ, you have just been spared the pain and suffering for how long? Eternity, all eternity. This can only happen by putting our faith in Jesus Christ. There is no other way, which most of us here have done. But we all know people who have not confessed, who have not surrendered to Jesus Christ, who have not come to the conclusion of their life as a sinner. They haven't even seen that. And who will perish, who will suffer for all eternity. And so the need to get the message of salvation out in Jesus Christ is important. We're not just here to be blessed. We're not just here to have a family and children and a job and work, 8 to 5 and come home and cook and clean and wipe up after the kids and clean up after your husbands, or some of you guys who might have a wife you have to clean up. I doubt it, but that's not what we're just here for. We're here for many things, and one of the main things we're here for is to love God. We're here to love God. That's why he sent Jesus. He wants that relationship with us. Remember, he had it with Adam in the purest sense of having a relationship. No hindrances, no sin involved, just him and Adam walking in the garden, and Adam viewing all of God's creation, looking at the world without sin. God had that, and he wants that with each and every one of us. So when you read John 3:16, you should see a whole bunch more than just he sent his son that we wouldn't perish. He sent his son so he could have a relationship with us, an everlasting relationship, not just here on earth, but also where? In heaven, in his domain, his place of activity, where we know in Revelation it talks about the beauty of heaven. I always like what Paul said. I can't explain it. He said if I was trying to say those words, it would be simple. I just can't explain heaven. So be careful of those books of people who've gone to heaven and can write a book about it. I think if Paul says he couldn't explain it, it's probably beyond the imagination. It's beyond what the mind can comprehend. But yet, this is the place we're going to. So then, in verse 17, it continues. It doesn't just stop at John 3:16. It says, "For God did not send his Son into the world to condemn the world," that is, punish or judge or sentence the world, "but that the world through him might be," what? Saved. What does that mean? Delivered, protected. Protected from what? From the consequence of sin, from perishing, from eternal damnation or suffering. Now, this is why Jesus came. But we also know there is the enemy, because in John 3:16, the serpent showed up, right? He came, he tricked Eve, and then tricked Adam. I believe, this is my personal belief, it's not biblically just written out, but I believe the time that Satan tricked Adam and Eve, he realized he could trick all men. That's why he didn't stop with sin. Sin entered in because of the sin of Adam, and we have the sin nature in us, but Satan has been tricking people ever since. He has not stopped. He continues to do what he does best, and that is to destroy the lives of people. In John chapter 10, verse 7 through 10, Then Jesus said to them, "Again, most assuredly, I say to you, I am the door." Now, you need to remember that. I am the door of the sheep. Who are the sheep? We are the sheep, right? Jesus says, "I am the door of the sheep." Now, you have to picture rocks around here, and this is like the entrance, and the shepherd sits right here. He'll stand, and then the sheep will come in, and he counts them to make sure he has all of them. And then he blocks the door as the door so the sheep can't come out. They can't hop the fence. They can't get away. He has them protected. So when Jesus says, "I am the door," he's saying, I'm the entrance to the protection. I'm the one that watches over. So he says here, "I am the door of the sheep." You get that picture now? This is the way it was in Israel when Jesus is writing. This is how they did it. He said, and then he says in verse 8, "And all who enter came before me are thieves and robbers." All these Christs and professing messiahs. He says, "All that came before me are thieves and robbers, but the sheep did not hear them." The sheep did not hear them. They didn't recognize their voice as the shepherd or Messiah of Israel. Then he says, "I am the door. If anyone enters by me, he shall be saved, and will go in and out and find pasture." Now that's That's a verse you should probably highlight on your Bible. Because he says, listen, I'm the door, and if you come in through me, he says, you'll be saved, first of all, which we already know from John 3:16. He says, you'll be saved, and then he says, you will go in and out and find pasture. In other words, I'm going to take care of you. I'm going to feed you. I'm going to give you everything you absolutely need. There's nothing in our lives that we do not have that we cannot obtain by our faith in Jesus Christ. How do you know what you're supposed to have in Jesus Christ? The Bible. That's why he gave us the Bible. That's why we had the Torah and all the books written and the prophecies, and everyone got touched to write about him and heaven and what life is and what's important in life. It's all written to us in a book. We have it all. But he says, listen, you come to me, I'm the door, you enter in, and you can come in and out and find passage. You'll find everything you need. Now, how many have found that to be true? The longer you walk, the more you find that to be true. The longer you walk, the more you realize, man, it's always in the Word. It's always there for my best. God knows what he's doing. He sent Jesus to help me know what he's doing. And he gave me the Holy Spirit so I can remember what he told me to do. So you'll find pasture. And then in verse 10, he doesn't stop. He says, the thief does not come. Remember, there were others before me. There were thieves and robbers. He said, but the sheep did not hear them. He says, but the thief, reference to Satan or the devil, does not come except to do what? To steal and to kill and to destroy. Those are the three things the devil comes to do. To steal, to kill, and destroy a person's life. Male, female, it does not matter. With Satan, everyone is alike. His objective is, I want to steal you from the relationship with God, from the knowledge of God, from everything to do about God. I want to kill you and ruin your lives and destroy you by, getting you addicted to all sorts of things, maybe to false religions, to drugs and alcohol, to anger, to prescription pills, to whatever you can name. That's what the devil's here for. That's his sole purpose. That's why we grow up, I don't know what percentage, but speaking from my own experience, that's why we grew up in gangs. Because Satan lied a long time ago somewhere and created gangs. And people join gangs, both boys and girls. And they kill for gangs. They deal drugs for gangs. They do all sorts of stuff. Those of you who never grew up in a gang, you got to just say amen to that. Because I'm telling you, a life in gangs is a life you don't want to experience. Let me put it to you that way. It's a life you don't want to experience. It's a belittling life. It's a depressing life. It's not a fruitful life. And it's a life that brings nothing but misery. And for most people, ultimately, it involves time in jail or prison. And that's just the way it is. And so Jesus says the devil comes to do that. This isn't the plan of God for us to be, heroin addicts or coke addicts or, lost in some type of vice or something that's out there. That's never God's plan. God's plan is always beautiful for us. But the devil has a plan. And he wants to break up marriage. He wants to get your children hooked on something they shouldn't be in. Why do you think we have such a problem today with transgender and everything else that's going on? It's because the devil is lying to people. Just like he lied to me back in early days. So I grew up in gangs, and everything I learned about the gang, it was all lies. It's not family. They don't care for you. How do I know? Because like my mom once said, the ones that visit you will care for you. She's talking about visiting you in jail. Guess who visited me in jail? My mom. And that was it. Not my dad, not my cousins, not my homies. You know who came to visit me in jail? My mom. Nobody else came. No one sent $5 to say, here, you need something. None of that. Why? Because they don't care. Because the devil lies to everybody. So when Jesus says, the thief comes not except to steal, kill, and destroy, he knows what he's talking about. And unfortunately, some of you know what he's talking about. Because you've had that life. makes us into filth. We become thieves or prostitutes. I mean, there's so much. I could spend all day just naming stuff that the devil has done in people's lives. But then Jesus says, and we can't, there's a period there, but there's another sentence. I have come. Okay, the devil came for this, but they said, but I have come that you may have life, and that you may have it more what? Abundantly. See, Satan comes to steal, kill, and destroy, but Jesus says, you know what? I'm the door. If you enter into me, you'll be saved. And not only that, you're going to have life, and you're going to have an abundant life. What is abundant life? A life beyond measure. It's a life that offers hope and joy. And I wrote, one of the most important things that happens because of Jesus is I have a life full of promises. When I read the promises of God, I can't think if this is all because of Jesus. His promises, I'm learning to live almost every day. He shows me something all the time. There are days I get a whole bunch, and there are days I get nothing, but I just keep reading and keep learning these promises from him and his love for me. And so he came to give me life. He came to make me safe. He came to provide for me all that I need. All that he desires for me and for you, it's all in his word. It's all there, all the promises, everything he wants for us. He warns us about the enemy. He warns us about our flesh. He warns us about governments and society. And he warns us about the devil and everything that's out there to try to ruin us. To try to ruin your marriage, to try to ruin your children, to try to ruin your church, to try to ruin this country. The Bible warns us of everything. But Jesus says, you know what? I've come to bring you blessings, to give you an abundant life, a better life. It's a life with promises. Now, some people claim this is material wealth. It could be. I think some people get blessed. But you have to have a hard time explaining to me why other countries are so in poverty and struggling the way they do. We are just a blessed nation. I personally think we're more blessed, not because of the abundant life that is promised in material blessing. I think we're blessed because we support Israel. That's why I think we're blessed. Because that's what the Bible says, right, in Genesis. Those who bless you, I will bless, and those who curse you, speaking of Israel, he says, I will curse. We are a supporter of Israel, this country, for the most part. This church is definitely a supporter of Israel. God blesses those who bless Israel. This is where our abundant life comes from, or you might say our prosperity. That's what I believe. So the thief may come to steal and kill, but listen, Jesus came with a bunch of promises, a bunch of blessings that are beyond the tangible things you can put your hand on or drive or own. But let me tell you, and anybody who's ever gone through a very severe hard time of either divorce or a child dying or something hard will tell you money can't buy peace. Money cannot buy peace. Jesus Christ can only give you peace. Some of us have experienced that as well. Then in verse 18 it says, he who believes in him, that put your faith in him, speaking of Jesus, is not condemned. It means not damned or sentenced or punished. But he who does not believe is condemned already. So by not believing, you're already sentenced, simply by not believing. Jesus didn't come to sentence us or punish us. He says our own faith, our own belief decides that for us. It's already written in the contract, you might say. And so he tells us, he who does not believe is condemned already. Why? Because he has not believed in the name of the only begotten Son of God. Where you put your faith has eternal consequences. Where you put your faith has eternal consequences. You have got to believe in the Son of Jesus to have the blessings provided by God in his word through his Son in the power of the Holy Spirit. Apart from that, he said, you know what? You're already condemned. You're already lost. You're already sentenced. I want to read you 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verses 1 and 6, which tells us why. The title of my Bible says, The Light of Christ's Gospel. We're told in these verses, it says in verse 1, Therefore, since we have this ministry, as we have received mercy, and do not lose heart, but we have renounced the hidden things of shame, not walking in craftiness or handling the word of God deceitfully, but by manifestation of the truth, commending ourselves to every man's conscience in the sight of God. But even if our gospel is veiled, it is veiled to those who are perishing. You notice that? To those who are perishing, whose mind the God of this age, that's Satan, has blinded, who do not believe, lest the light of the gospel of the glory of Christ, who is the image of God, should shine on them. And for we do not preach ourselves, but Christ Jesus the Lord, and ourselves your bondservants for Jesus' sake. For it is God who commanded light to shine out of darkness. He has shown in our hearts to give the light of the knowledge of the glory of God in the face of Jesus Christ. We sang that song this morning. Change my heart, oh God. Change my heart, oh God. You can truly only say those words or sing those words when you have a relationship with Jesus Christ or desire a relationship. Because then you understand who you are as a sinner. Then you say to yourself, you know what, my life needs to be changed. My life needs something new in it. My life needs to have God in it. See, Satan, again, is the reason why many do not believe. You think people just say, I don't want to believe? No, Satan has done this from the very beginning. That's why I believe it. In chapter 3, verse 15 of Genesis, that when he came and tricked Adam and Eve and caused them to sin by eating of the forbidden fruit, which basically, what was their sin? Disobedience. What did God say? Do not eat of that fruit. What did they do? They ate of that fruit. Disobedience was their sin. And because of that sin, man continues to be disobedient. Man desires to do as he pleases. Satan, again, is the reason why many do not believe. He was in the beginning doing this, and he's still doing it today. But Jesus has come to give us the light so we can see clearly the darkness. That's what he came for, to shine in this darkness that we live in and reveal the truth to us. 1 John chapter 3, verse 19, back to 1 John chapter 3, verse 19, it says, and this is the condemnation, or the decision, or justice in the Greek, that the light has come into the world, and men love, or you should write there, desire sensually darkness rather than light. Okay, did you get that? This is the decision that the light has come into the world. And men love or desire sensually darkness rather than light, because their deeds, their doing, their works are evil. Why do people do that? It comes from within the heart. It comes from within the darkness and the desire for darkness. This is why people get involved in all sorts of stuff. All sorts of dark things. Something so vile, I can't even say them. I've seen those type of things. There's things that many people are ashamed of. How do we know? Well, look at the suicide rate. Why do people kill themselves? Because they can't handle what they've done, for the most part. Others out of mental illness. But a lot of people kill themselves because they can't handle what they've done. Some can't live with themselves, I would say. That they only experience the freedom that's found in Jesus. They could move forward. It's terrible to be stuck somewhere. It's terrible to be stuck in a place or position in life where you know it's not right. And you need a way out. And the message has been going on for thousands of years. The way out is Jesus Christ. He breaks the bondage. He breaks the grip of Satan in our lives and in in our minds. Well, he came to shine the light so that we can see the darkness and the grip it has on us. And it says here, I'll read again verse 20. For everyone, but men love darkness rather than light because their deeds or works were evil. And then in verse 20 it says, for everyone practicing evil, practicing means repeatedly, doing it over and over. It's not just a one-time event. This is something we do over and over. He says, for everyone practicing evil hates the light and does not come to the light lest his deeds should be exposed. But he who does the truth comes to the light, that his deed may be clearly seen, that they have been done in God. So, as you can see from this verse, our actions, our conduct reveal what's in it, whether it's darkness or light. Darkness desires to practice sinful or devilish or wicked or immoral things. That's what darkness does. It draws us into the outerness of the things of God. It pulls us away from them. Whereas the light, it clearly helps us to see the darkness and say, man, those are things I want no part of. That's why we should sing that song, Change My Heart, Oh God. Because, there could be darkness in me. I'm saying, God, you need to change me. You need to get this out of me. I don't want to practice this thing. I don't want to be a part of this anymore. I need my life to be so involved in you that you bring me freedom and that the light shines. What's that? Psalms 119, 105. I just lost it. The light is a lamp unto my feet and a lamp to my feet and a light unto my path. The light of the God's word illuminates the direction we go, and it also lights up each step. Each step you take is lit up by God. He will guide your step, but it also show you where you're heading. See, if you know you're heading to heaven, then he's going to guide your steps so you can... How many of you watched what's the name of that movie? Those Raiders of the Lost Ark and things like that, where they have to step on a piano or it's a rock or a bridge to get on the other side, and they got to be, oh man, the thing falls apart and you get trapped, right? Well, it's sort of like that for us. God is saying, okay, don't step there. You need to step here. And he guides us on our walk because there are a lot of obstructions or attractions that are trying to draw us into the wrong step. The devil is trying to get us to head somewhere. And some of you have heard me say this. He will plan today to ruin your life a year from now. Did you get that? He will plan today to ruin your life a year from now. One thing you can say about the devil, he is patient. He knows how to set up the first step to get you to the 12th step so you can fall on that step. He's very good at what he does. He's very good at enticing. He's very good at using people to mislead us, to take us a different way. And that includes Christian teachers. Some of you know this. There are teachers out there who are being used of Satan to deceive people into a false religion, a false relationship with Jesus Christ. And the Bible tells us the main reason for that is because they're trying to fleece you. They're trying to get you to know. That's the main reason for that. But Satan knows how to do that really good. Where God says, listen, my son is the light. He's going to guide your step. He's going to get you where you need to be because he'll show you where you're heading to, and then he'll guide each of your steps. Now, we misstep. It's not over. We're just going to suffer a little hardship because of our own sins. Some of us are self-willed. We have very strong will, and we want to do it our way. Well, God loves you so much, he'll let you do it your way. But that way always comes with some type of consequence. There's always some type of heartache waiting at the end of the road with us. soul. Those in the light, it says, that his deeds may be clearly seen, that they have been done in God, that we practice truth and righteousness. Therefore, if anyone is in Christ, 2 Corinthians 5:17 says to us, he is a new creature, creation. Old things have passed away. Behold, all things have become new. If you're in Christ, newness comes. There's something different about you and I because we're in Christ. See, we no longer look at darkness as attractive and a desire for it. We now look at it and say, yuck, how could I have ever done that? I mean, I still watch, every now and then, I'll watch a movie like, oh man, that was such a great movie, and I'll go turn it on, and I go, yuck, what the heck was that, man? Why did I think that was a good movie? You want to know why? Because the light of Christ is in me, and now I look at it, and it's like throw up, man. I'm like, I just get sick over it. I remember somebody, and this is as a Christian, they bought me that series Lonesome Dove. What a terrible movie that is. Terrible movie. I watched that movie and I thought, and you're a Christian? Either they are a Christian and had never really watched it, because when I saw it, it was filthy. I just got rid of it. I'm glad I don't remember who gave me that present. Praise God. But, you know, it's a terrible movie, but when you have the light of Christ in you, you can now see the darkness and you say, no, that's not what I want in my life. Why? Because I'm a new creature. Why? Old things have passed away. That's my old habits, my old desires. Everything about me that loves sin and darkness, it's not there no more. But, you know, it doesn't control me anymore is a better way of saying it. Why? Because all things have become new. Everything I see now is new in Christ. My eyes have the light of Christ and I see clearly the things that are there, and I desire those things. So that was the one reason why Jesus is the reason. Another reason we find in 1 Timothy chapter 1, verse 15. It's one verse, and it says here, this is a faithful or trustworthy saying, and worthy or deserving of all acceptance, that Jesus Christ came into the world to save sinners, of whom I am chief, or the foremost, Paul wrote. Jesus came to save, deliver sinners from what? Sinning and perishing, from having everlasting suffering, or you could put pain there. He did this at the cross for all people. This is one of the reasons why Jesus came. Paul said, you know what, of whom I am the foremost. Paul saw himself as the chief of all sinners. Why? You think Paul was the chief of all sinners? I don't think so. I think in himself he realized who he was and saw himself. I think we all should get to that place of, you know what, I'm just a vile person. Now outwardly I might not be doing all sorts of terrible things, but inwardly you ought to say, man, where did that ugliness come from? I think Paul saw that. I know I've seen it in my life. I think, man, Lord, how could I even think that? Well, I realize how. Because the devil, the Bible says, he shoots wild thoughts into my brain to cause me to think those terrible things. It's not that I'm a terrible person. It's that he continues to attack you and I. And he will continue to attack until the day the Lord takes you and I home. We will always get the wiles of the devil shot at us because we are always targets. It's like having the big red bullseye on your back. Satan is always looking to set you up and knock you out. It's just the way it is. It's just the way it is. But Jesus came to save us, and we understand who we are, and we see who we are, and we're grateful to him. And so we come to him in repentance. We come to him asking for forgiveness, and this forgiveness for salvation, it truly is a one-time experience. But like I said, the enemy is always coming, always attacking. We sometimes intentionally, I believe most of the time unintentionally, think things or maybe do things. But 1 John says, listen, all you have to do is confess your sin, and he is faithful and just to forgive you of your sins and cleanse you from what? All unrighteousness. In other words, that's a get out of free jail card in your mind. Every time Satan lies and we react, God is saying, just repent of it and let's start over. Let's just keep going. And I like that. Because if I was left to me, I'd still be back, way back somewhere in bondage, trying to figure out how to get out of all this. But because of 1 John 1:9, which is addressed to Christians, I know that all I have to do is call upon Him, confess what's going on in my head or my heart, and then just keep going because of His forgiveness. The third reason, and like I said, there's a whole bunch. I just brought up these three. Is Isaiah 61:1 and 3, because this is basically for me my life's verse. It's the verse that I first learned when I first got saved, and it made all the sense in the world to me coming from where I came from. The Spirit of the Lord God is upon me, because the Lord has anointed me to preach good news to the poor. He has sent me to bind up the brokenhearted, to proclaim liberty to the captives, and the opening of the prison to those who are bound, to proclaim the year of the Lord's favor and the day of vengeance of our God, to comfort all who mourn, to grant to those who mourn in Zion, to give them a beautiful headdress instead of ashes, the oil of gladness instead of mourning, the garment of praise instead of the faint spirit, that they may be called oaks of righteousness, the planting of the Lord, that He may be glorified. This 3 verses. When I first got saved, I was involved in a place called New Heart. It was a drug and alcohol ministry. And I was involved in that ministry and learning the tools to stay free. I was delivered in jail miraculously, just walked away from heroin and cocaine. And I remember the first time I went, my wife Diana had asked me to go with her, and I went, and I walked out. I said, well, I don't need this class. I'm delivered. I'm free. What do I need to learn about drugs and alcohol? I can tell you about drugs and alcohol. I don't need to be here. And this guy came out, Bruce, and he says, hey, man, where you going? I said, I don't need that class, dude. I've been healed. I've been touched by God. And he looked at me and he says, well, let me tell you something. The people in there, they haven't been. They're still struggling. And how do you know God doesn't want to use you to help them deliver? And I said, well, I guess I can understand that. He said, plus, Satan ain't done. You need to learn the tools to fight Satan. And you'll learn that here. And I said, okay. And I went back and I stayed. The whole time I was at Calvary South Bay, 8 years, I was involved in the drug fight. The last 4 years, I taught the drug fight. But the Lord had given me all this information, and this verse is one of the ones that I learned, and I realized why Jesus came. But I also got my calling through this verse. Because when I read the Spirit of the Lord God is upon me, because the Lord has anointed me to bring good news to the poor, I realized God was sending me to preach His gospel. I'm not the Messiah. This is the Jesus verse. But this is my calling verse too. It's where God spoke to me about what He was going to do with me in my life. And so this verse has been, you guys always hear it's my favorite verse in my favorite book. This is truly my favorite verse. This is my life verse. This is the verse that God spoke to me concerning my life. Now many of us have experienced the deliverance that He talked about. We've experienced maybe the healing or the cleansing in our lives because of what Jesus did when He came. We have been given a new life with new purposes. Had Jesus never come, none of us could be delivered. Many would still be in bondage. Many would not be healed. Many would not have able to give forgiveness out. One of the things that the Lord showed me right away. When you're forgiven, it's a lot easier to forgive. I know that was true for me. When He forgave me, it made it easier for me to forgive others. Some of you know, few here who don't know, I was stabbed in the back by a friend. My wife died. They pronounced me dead. I came back to life. I stood in my neighborhood for almost a whole year with my son. That's when I first started carrying guns. I was going to shoot this guy and kill him. My dad had a gun. He was going to kill him. It was our intention to kill this guy. And then I got saved. And the first thing the Lord said, you need to forgive. How can I do this? With me, He can do all. months had passed between my conversion and going to court to face my trial for possession of narcotics for sale. And when I went into the jail cell, I woke up the next morning and guess who was in my cell? Right next to me. The guy who stabbed me, I have a scar from here to here. The guy who stabbed me was in the cell right next door to me when I woke up. Mentally, I had to forgive him. And I told him, I forgive you. And our relationship, it didn't go back to what it was exactly, but there was no more animosity or anger or tension. Why? Because God gave me the ability to be brother. So you know what? Having Jesus in your life kind of changed it. My whole life would be so different without God. And I think yours would be different. I think your life would be so different without God. One of the things I wrote down, my life would be so different without God to talk. Just to talk. I can't imagine my life where I couldn't just talk to him anytime, anywhere, about anything. Whether it's the joy of having my children and grandchildren, or the sorrow of watching things. He's always there. And I don't have to be in church to hear him. I can be in my car. I can be walking down the street, at the beach. It makes no difference. Wherever I go, God is there. And he's always there, and I know that. And I know my life is different because I have him to talk to. I can't get a hold of you every time I need to talk. But I 711 God, and he answers me. That's my number for reaching God, 711. I just say, me and Pastor Al, we use those codes, and he'll say, dude, I need a 911 from you. He got an emergency, and he says, I'm going to 711 God right now, man. I got to talk to him. He's got to come first. And I love talking to God. Without Jesus' forgiveness in my life, I wouldn't have the ability. I really wouldn't. Without the Holy Spirit to guide me and convict me of my sinful act or thought, I would never repent. I would continue to live in the guilt and shame. And the Holy Spirit continues to remind me that I can be forgiven and that I can ask for forgiveness. Why? Because he guides me to live the life God desires. He reminds me of what I read in the Bible or study in the Bible. I believe the Holy Spirit helps me and God helps me by putting a desire in my life to read the Bible. I know a lot of people who struggle. They can't read the Bible. I've never had that problem. And I thank God for that. I pray that for you. If you have a struggle or problem reading the Bible, I pray God right now puts that in your heart. He puts that desire of the Holy Spirit for you to say, God, I guess I should read this. And find the joy and blessing of him speaking to you eternally. I pray you all know this in your life. I pray each and every one of you are blessed by God. So Jesus coming is the reason for everything you ever need. Whatever it is, you're thinking of getting married, he knows the guy. He knows the girl. Whatever it is you need in your life, Jesus came to help you with every single part of it. Father, we do thank you for loving us, for coming, sending your Son for us, for guiding us, for teaching us, for helping us, for placing in us even the things we don't have, like forgiveness, or maybe compassion, or generosity. Whatever it is we have, it all comes from you, Lord, and we are so blessed because of it. We thank you that you promised us an abundant life, a better life, a life filled by the Holy Spirit to walk the life that you desire us to walk. We're grateful for our Bibles, Lord, and now I truly pray, Lord, that each person here and those listening on YouTube would be touched by your Spirit to want to read, to want to study, to want to learn and spend time with you. To find a quiet place, whether it's in their home, in the backyard, on the bus, or wherever that place may be, where they can tune in, tune out this world, and just spend that quality time together. I pray this morning will be a new beginning for them. So Lord, we love you.